A sick person in prehistory did not disappear into a hospital. There was no white room, no prescription bottle, no doctor behind a door. There was only a body on the ground, a fire that had to stay alive, and a group deciding what that body was still worth. If your leg broke, you slowed everyone down. If fever took you, you became dangerous to carry. If a wound opened, infection could become a silent animal. So the question is not whether ancient humans had medicine. The question is, what counted as medicine when pain arrived before writing, before doctors, before names for disease? And the strangest answer is this. The first medicine may not have been a plant. It may have been another person staying beside you. For most of human history, sickness was not private. It happened in front of everyone. A cough changed the camp. A limp changed the hunt. A swollen jaw changed what someone could eat. A difficult birth changed the future of the whole group. There were no microscopes, no germ theory, no antibiotics. But ancient people were not helpless children waiting for science. They watched bodies closely because survival forced them to. They knew which wounds smelled wrong. They knew which plants numbed, burned, soothed, or emptied the stomach. They knew when someone needed heat, water, or carrying. This is the part modern people often miss. Medicine did not begin as a system. It began as attention. One of the clearest clues comes from a Neanderthal called Shanidar I. He lived tens of thousands of years ago in what is now Iraqi Kurdistan. His bones were found in Shanidar Cave, and they were not the bones of an easy life. Shanidar I had suffered a crushing injury to the head. His left eye may have been damaged. His right arm was withered. He may have had trouble walking. He also showed signs of hearing loss. By modern standards, he would have needed help every day. By Ice Age standards, that is almost hard to imagine. A group moving through hard landscapes had to spend energy carefully. Food was not guaranteed. Warmth was not guaranteed. Safety was not guaranteed. Yet Shanidar I lived for years after serious injury. That does not prove a hospital. It does not prove kindness in the modern sentimental way. But it points to something harder and more important. Someone adjusted. Someone shared food. Someone tolerated slowness. Someone made room for a body that no longer worked normally. In a world without medicine cabinets, care itself became technology. That is the first layer of ancient medicine. Not curing, keeping someone alive long enough for the body to do the curing. But ancient people also learned from the world around them. A leaf could change pain. A bark could change fever. A fungus could change the stomach. A bitter root could mean danger or relief depending on the dose, the season, and the memory of the group. The evidence is rare because plants disappear. Soft tissue disappears. Spoken knowledge disappears. But sometimes, the past traps a clue in the strangest place. In dental plaque. In 2017, researchers studied ancient DNA from Neanderthal dental calculus. One individual from Sidrón in Spain was clearly unwell. His jaw showed a dental abscess. The genetic evidence also pointed to an intestinal parasite. Inside his hardened tooth plaque, researchers detected poplar, a plant that contains salicylic acid, the chemical family connected to aspirin. They also detected Penicillium mold, though that does not mean he had invented antibiotics. That would be too clean. But it means a sick Neanderthal had traces of substances that make modern people pause. Pain relief. Mold. Plants chosen, chewed, swallowed, remembered. Maybe it was deliberate treatment. Maybe it was food. Maybe the line between food and medicine did not exist yet. That may be the real point. For ancient humans, medicine was probably not a separate category. It was part of knowing the landscape. What grows near water? What stops bleeding? What makes you vomit? What calms the belly? What smoke keeps insects away? What bitter thing is worth enduring? Every landscape could become a pharmacy if someone remembered where to look. Then there is Ötzi, a man dead for more than 5,000 years, found frozen high in the Alps. He was not prehistoric in the deepest sense, but his body is one of the clearest windows into ancient health and treatment. Ötzi was not a clean museum object. He was a walking list of problems. He had worn joints, bad teeth, parasites, injuries, and signs of stress inside the body. Researchers found whipworm eggs in his intestine, a parasite that can cause pain and diarrhea. He also carried pieces of fungus. One of them, birch polypore, has often been discussed as a possible medicinal fungus. Nobody can prove exactly why he carried it. It may have had practical uses. It may have had symbolic uses. It may have been part of treatment. But the important thing is that his equipment included more than tools for cutting and fighting. It included materials that may have belonged to a health tradition. His skin also carried tattoos, not decorative pictures of animals or gods. Short groups of lines and crosses, many placed near joints and areas of physical strain. Some researchers have argued that these marks may relate to pain treatment. Again, certainty is dangerous. But the body of Ötzi shows something unmistakable. Ancient sickness was not rare. Ancient treatment was not simple. And ancient people were not guessing randomly every morning. They carried memories on their skin, in their bags, and in the hands of the people around them. Then the story gets more disturbing, because sometimes ancient treatment meant opening the skull. Trepanation is one of the oldest known surgical practices. A person cut, scraped, or drilled a hole into the skull. To modern eyes, it looks like horror, but the bones tell a different story. Many skulls with trepanation show healing around the edges. Healing means the person survived, not for minutes, often for months or years. In prehistoric Peru, researchers studying the Cusco region found dozens of trepanned individuals. Some methods, especially scraping and circular cutting, were associated with high survival. One study reported an overall survival rate of about 83%. That number changes the picture, because it means ancient surgery was not only ritual spectacle. It could also be learned technique. People noticed which cuts killed. They noticed which methods healed. They improved by watching bone, blood, pain, and time. This was not modern surgery. There was no sterile operating room, no anesthesia in the modern sense, no understanding of bacteria. But there was skill, there was practice, there was the terrifying human belief that a damaged body could still be intervened in. Ancient medicine was not one thing. It was a bundle of strategies. Rest, heat, water, plants, fungi, pressure on wounds, splints, toothpicking, massage, smoke, ritual, surgery, and care. Some of it worked for reasons ancient people could not explain. Some of it probably did nothing. Some of it may have harmed people. Medicine has always carried that shadow. But the deeper pattern is not stupidity. It is experiment under pressure. A child gets a fever. Someone remembers a bitter plant. A hunter is cut. Someone presses fiber into the wound. An elder cannot walk. Someone changes the route. A birth goes wrong. Women gather, hands already knowing what words cannot explain. This is how medicine existed before it had a name. Not as a profession, but as a memory distributed across the group. And that changes the way illness looked. Sickness was not only a biological problem, it was a social test. Would the group carry you? Would someone feed you when you could not hunt? Would someone know the plant? Would someone risk touching the wound? Would someone stay awake while your breathing changed? A group that cared for the sick paid a cost, but it also protected knowledge. An injured elder might still know migration routes. A limping hunter might still know animal behavior. A sick mother might still hold the life of a child. Care was not just kindness, it was a survival strategy for a species built on memory. This is why ancient medicine feels so human, because it sits in the space between fear and loyalty. The sick body is frightening. It leaks, coughs, smells, slows, and needs. But it is also familiar. It is your brother, your mother, your child, your hunter, your storyteller, your future self. Every ancient camp had to answer the same question. When a body becomes weak, does it stop being part of us? The answer was not always beautiful. People were abandoned, children died, wounds killed, pain was ordinary. Ancient life was not a romantic herbal paradise. But the evidence that survives keeps pointing back to the same truth. Humans did not wait for hospitals to become medical. They were medical because they were social. A plant mattered because someone taught it. A skull healed because someone tried. A disabled man survived because someone made space. A fever mattered because the group could not fully separate one body from the lives gathered around it. Today, medicine looks like machines, pills, scans, and white light. And those things save lives ancient people could not save. But underneath them is an older structure. Someone notices, someone remembers, someone stays. Long before doctors, before charts, before the word infection, there was a fire, a sick body beside it, and another human choosing not to walk away. That may be the oldest treatment we have. Not the leaf, not the knife, not the hole in the skull, the hand that reached toward the person in pain and said, without language or science, "You are still one of us."